even know where to begin from where we were at 2 weeks ago when
Yeah,
last time we
so
did this.
we had well, I would guess like almost well, it's like about 11 days off of tanking period,
Yeah.
right? Like you haven't tanked at all, obviously. Tell me a little bit about what's your thought now, like coming back to it. Are you like nervous again, or
Yeah, I really am a little bit nervous, and I'm one of these people. Like, even when I would raid every week, I would always rewatch guides right before the raid because I needed to remind myself of stuff. So I'm kind of really worried about being rusty, and completely forgetting things that I knew instinctively 11 days ago.
it'll be like riding a bike, I think, at this point, because we got everything set up. We got the UI set up, we got everything that we needed to have on the screen and in the game doing what it needs to do. So now it's just about you pressing the buttons. And we also talked a lot about keybinds last time too, and that's now all sorted out too. So yeah, so next
James,
key is Iron Docks 19. Let's talk a little bit about that. What are your thoughts going into it?
my thoughts are this: if the goal is to get 20s on each of the groups of dungeons so that we get the portals, I am perfectly willing to say that we blacklist 3 specific dungeons simply to streamline things because we've gotten a bit behind anyway. And if we manage to get a bunch of 20s done, then we can look at those 3. And the 3 I'm thinking of is Upper, Gambit, and Docks, because I think those 3 are going to be the toughest. The Dragon Boss, that one pull with the stars, and Upper just because it's Upper. And if we leave those ones to last, we can still get the portals for those 3 anyway, right?
What are you suggesting? I don't know why we're talking about this.
Well, I'm suggesting is we move on from my key to pugging a key.
Yeah,
So
we're good, dude. Iron Docks, super easy key. The thing about that dungeon that I actually like regret that happened here is all of that stuff there is not really needed. Like what I'm showing you there is a way to pull and optimize that segment, and nobody is actually going to help you do that. So I just kind of wasted your time here, put this in your head for no real reason. So we're just not going to do that. We're just going to shoot the iron stars and just move on. Yeah, I thought more hunters would be doing that on lower keys. When we started this, I was like, okay, well, people are going to demand it, so I wanted to teach you it, but it doesn't seem like anybody does it anyway, so there's no need to even do it. Literally just shoot
yeah.
the iron stars as they are and move on, and that's that area completely out of your hands now.
So then the only part that I was having a slightest bit of trouble then was pulling that first Gron, because I still don't quite understand how close I have to get to it to pull it.
Yeah, just don't worry about that either. You just ride right through it. It won't kill you.
So
That's
ride
like
right
a
through
blood
both of
DK
those.
thing where they can literally kill you while you're riding by it because you get hit so freaking hard as blood DK. But I want to make sure we're clear on the route because the last few times we did this together, you did not seem to understand what I was asking you to pull. So do you have any questions on that?
Yeah, I'm not 100% on it, and it's been so long since I've done it too.
So those 3 are in the middle there. We're going to pull all those together. Okay. It's very important that we make this first pull like accurately. Last time we did it, we had some problems with that. Okay.
And then I hug the thing around here.
No, we still have to pull the middle pack.
This
So it's that
pack.
next, and then there's the patrol there. So we need to make sure we don't get the
Siege
patrol when he's
Master
too
Olgar.
close to that mob on the left there. And then
So
we
we want to
hug.
get him up around here.
Yeah, either up around there or where he is right there on the sheet. Yep, we get that. Then we hug that corner and come around. So that's going to be the Dreadlord and the one on the right side of the fence. Then we're going to go back behind the ballista things that are there, and we're going to get the boss and 2 of the trash mobs, okay?
And these 2 trash mobs.
So
here.
how we're going to do this is you're going to run over to those on your mount. You'll be on your mount at this point. You're going to run over to them. You're going to get the Dreadlord out, and you're going to keg smash. And then you're going to quickly use all your roll charges and go right to the boss and taunt him, okay? Then you're going to keep the boss as your target. Make sure you do another keg smash on the boss to generate threat on him. Then turn around and combine the pack, okay? We need to make sure we get threat on both targets. So we need a keg smash on both of them, okay? We won't pull more trash until the boss is off the wolf. But another problem you had here was when the boss dismounts the wolf, he has no threat on anybody. So obviously at that point, you need to taunt the boss and quickly establish threat on him, okay? So when he dismounts at 50%, that's when he does it, okay? At 50%, he dismounts, and you need to be onto that. As soon as he comes off, you taunt and get a keg smash on him, and then that's solved too. And then once we kill the wolf, we go start pulling trash because the boss himself does almost nothing, okay? The wolf is the danger. We can take all of this trash here. So we're going to start by the 3 pack on the right that's patrolling. That's going to be your first pull. And then if we get that killed and the boss is still alive, you're going to get the 3 up in the middle there. Yeah, those 3 right there. Then we're going to get the rest of the mobs back there. And there's going to be one on the far right of that pack. He will not aggro. And that's a good thing. We don't want him to aggro, because then we can get
Okay.
the Dreadlord at the end. If he does aggro, it's not consequential at all. Yep, that pack there. You're going to grab that and the 2 in the middle. They're going to be easily pulled without the rest of the stuff. We're going to get those 6 together. And we're doing that so we can skip the really annoying pack at the last part of the dungeon. Yep, so now we're just going to ride by these 2 guys, and that's all you're going to do here. You're just going to ride right by them and take them to that iron star, and you're not going to pull any other trash in this area. Let the stars do the work. See that big guy, the Ogron with the 5 mobs around him? We do want that pack for the route. A lot of times the star can kill it on its own, so we'll see. But if we fail to do that, then we got to get the stuff from that pack and combine it into the pack south of it, okay? See, that was the Dreadlord and the
this
3.
one and this one, yeah.
Yeah, yep. Those 2 packs need to die, and then that's it. We're on to the gauntlet.
Gotcha.
And then the one good thing about this guy's hitbox being so big is the Ogron in the middle there. You can actually pull him while we're fighting the previous pack, like not while we're fighting it, but as it dies, and then he'll run over to you. And because he takes so long to get over there, then you just kind of flip through him, and then he'll be standing in the perfect spot for the fire to hit him without any additional help from you. And so this one's really important that you do get him hit by the fire, because he can get stunned by the fire as well. Not only take damage, so it will stun him, and it will make it a much, much, much easier mob. And then we're on to the boss. Nothing really to the boss. Just make sure you keep them gathered. That's one thing I've seen. At this point, we'll try to grab those 2 packs together there. So that's all 1 pack right there, those 2 mobs, and then pull them up into the other 4.
We're skipping this and
both
this?
of them. Yep, both of them.
Yeah. And we're not getting any of this side stuff.
No. And then that is needing to be pulled just for extra count. We get the Dreadlord there, and that's it. Make sure you taunt this Dreadlord and bring it up to the front boss here, and that's it. You've done the dungeon's over at that point.
Let's list the key. Shadow Priest, yeah! Shadow Priest type.
Big smile,
Shadow
big
Priest
smile.
type.
Rogue can be a good pick, because then we can Shroud instead of Invispot at the end.
And we can slash Shroud.
Oh my god, you remember that? That was so funny. Holy shit, that was hilarious. All right, this is a big one for the series here, because we're conquering our fears and also getting our first 20 in the bags.
Okay, we're all here. Slash
Okay, so
ready check.
You spelled ready wrong? Okay, look at how Rushing Jade Wind is just making this so much easier now. It's so great. Great to see that. Definitely a good pack for leg sweep. $50K, $60K, look at that. That's looking good. No danger whatsoever. You didn't even use your trinket. It's still not in any danger. That's crazy, man. So this is where we want to try to get the pack. Like, you got 1 mob out at range and the other 2 are melee. So you just drag those 2 melee ones over to the range one. But all good. Doesn't really slow us down that much. Take a look at where the pad is too now, so we can see what we're getting. Yeah, perfect. All right, go get him right now. So possible mistake area coming up. Make sure we hug this wall. It's good chance that somebody else doesn't as well. And if they don't, just be ready to pull all the trash. It probably won't be that big of a deal this week, but okay, hugging that corner. Good. And make sure we do something to grab this guy. Perfect. And now turn around, make sure nobody's aggro. Just check it out. Yeah, okay, good. This druid's like RPing. No surprise there, Moonguard. Okay, we want to mount up here, buddy. Let's go mount up.
I thought I did.
Now remember, we're going to run over the trash. Make sure we spawn the Dreadlord before we keg smash, so we don't waste the keg smash. Let's go. Run over there. No. Just run over to it. You need to get both. See, this is the problem. Okay, that's fine. Just go to boss now. We got to be a little bit more decisive. We got to plan this out in our head before we go, okay? These kind of indecision moments are what's making this difficult for us right now. As soon as it's 50, get ready to taunt it. It's at 60 right now. Coming up, 53, 51. Boom. Move it out of the fire, and we're good. Now we kill the dog, and then we go for the trash. Hopefully the hunter or the priest can get that off. Looks like we've, yep, we're not doing that, so it's really bad. Okay, let's go for the trash. Ideally, we won't turn our backs to the boss on Tyrannical Week. Careful. You'll have to pull the ranged Deadeye and the technician at ranged. Good. Grab everything, and then just be aware that right one shouldn't aggro, and that's intentional. All right, grabbing these 6. And no, we don't want to pull them at range. We got to get all 6 of them. Go up there and get the other 2. A lot of times pulling at range is useful, but in cases like this, there's no need to do it. All right, cool. So you're just grabbing these 2 and going right to the star. Nothing else. Let them handle it. Probably turn around and make sure. No, whoa, okay. Just shoot it. Let's go. Quick. Yeah, definitely don't want the tank in there.
Well, nobody else was taking it.
Okay, yeah, okay. We'll just get in it then and let's get going here. I don't know what's going on. Where's this rogue even at?
He's in the second one.
All right, just shoot it. All right,
I'm
so
gonna
grab
get
those
these
three at least. Yeah, grab those three and then pull them over to the ones on the right. They're all separate. You gotta just run over there and grab them. Yep. And just roll over there and grab these two. Okay, so now we're gonna look to make sure it's clean. It looks like it just ended. Yep, so we can go.
Guys back here.
Yeah, ideally they'd be in the fire, but not needed. Just kill them normally, and that'll be that. And then as soon as we kill these 5, we're gonna just taunt the guy so he comes out to meet us. And then when we meet him, we're gonna run behind him and keep him where he is, and then he'll be hit by the fire there and make his death a lot easier. Okay, so you're good now. Go ahead and taunt him. Good, and turn him around. Yep, see how he's being stunned?
Yes.
Really valuable. That flaming slash will always face you, so just try to have your back to one of these, like, whatever this is, this railing on the side here, so he doesn't go too far. You see how he barely moved and nobody was anywhere close to it? That's what we want. Try to watch for the traps. We got a lot near us too, so wouldn't be a bad idea to move to the left a bit.
Especially with that big boom coming.
Yeah, that actually does not do damage. It does like mythic 0 damage. A friggin' person keeps meowing and I keep thinking somebody's actually typing something important and I keep getting tricked into wondering what they're going to be saying. We're going to go up there, mount up. We're going
Just
to
wanted to get past the traps before I mounted.
Cool. We're going to get threat on the 2 targets here, and then we're going to go right into the next pack. Ideally with keg smash, not just rolling through them. Keg smash is your big, like, that's your get out of jail free card threat spell. So I always make sure we're using that when we're going through bombs like that. And ideally we'd pull out those 2 up to the others because now we've got like 3 casters in all different spots. Those disengages will also just go backwards like the hunter spell. So if you face them against a wall, then they won't go anywhere. But anyway, go ahead and type Shroud next. No, not slash, dude. Holy fuck, are you trolling? You're trolling, I guess. Yeah, I see, but you're nowhere near it, so you're actually gonna have to invis-bot because this guy's... We don't want to take so much time typing it that we end up not being able to use it. So let's invis-bot.
Yeah, I can't. It's on cooldown.
Yeah, well, that's really bad. That is a hell of a fucking mistake right there, buddy. We just gotta pull it. Just go and pull it. Just go and pull it. Just these 2. Just stay here. Just stay here. It's definitely the rogue's fault too, but we don't want to take like 15 seconds to tell somebody to do something. We just want to either not do it or just move on. Right, now we can just invis. That's not an invis pot, by the way. Okay, that's fine. We'll just kill this trash too. Go ahead and pull it.
Person on the face of the planet.
Yeah, just gotta get focused up. I don't know what that was, but all good. Not gonna stop the key from succeeding, but kind of a noob moment there, and I don't really know if we I'm not sure why any of that happened, but all good. Okay, so we can now skip this pack here, and that's just run around the side. Oh, actually, yeah, he did the mind suit thing or whatever, so yeah. Okay, that's fine. Same result, just one less bad word. That's it. Dungeon's over. Dungeon's over.
Yep. Everything after this is simple.
Yeah, I mean, for you at least. The group might do something wrong, but one big thing is to stun the wolves the second you can. We're standing pretty close to a possible Rylac cage. Hopefully that's not going to be an issue. That AoE, I thought might... Oh, he's going to go all the way over there anyway. Okay, we'll try to CC it. Got it. Easy mode. We'll have one more cage of wolves, I'd imagine. And we are done on count, so we don't actually need the Dreadlord on the boat, don't forget.
So it's all just straight up to the boss then?
Yep, just ride right up to the boss, and that's it. Dungeon is now in the hands of the DPS. And just make sure you put a lot of damage into the ad, but also keep threat on the boss too.
Rushing Jade Wind for the win.
Yeah, it'll help, but it won't. You need to make sure you hit both targets with kick smash, basically. Which can be difficult because they start kind of far away. There you go, perfect. Problem solved. You definitely want to be ready to go as soon as that. This is like, okay, get up there, get up there, get up there, get up there. You want to be right on the edge there. So this, you got to taunt the boss. Every time he does that, he drops full threat. You have to reestablish threat every time. When you get knocked back there, you want to be right on the edge. So the second it ends, you can be the first one up there. If you let other people beat you to it, they will die. So you can actually go behind. There's like a little barrel next to the actual container. That also line of sight. So just stand right behind that barrel and you're good. And then as soon as it's over, we're rolling up there and getting threat. A little early, but that's fine. Taunt him, and that's it. You got to walk right up to him. Okay, perfect. And that's how you do it every time. Just let that. Don't worry about that guy. Don't turn your back to the boss, dude. Turn around. Turn around. Turn around. Don't turn your back to bosses on tyrannical weeks. You're gonna die. Okay, get Zogosh now. Taunt him. The ad doesn't drop threat. It's just the boss, so you don't have to worry about the ad. Oh, we lost it, and that's that, guys. 19 completed in time. That means we got 20 in the bags. Let's take a look at what key we got. 12 points as well for that. Junkyard! Oh no! the gods are smiling on us today, cop. So next episode of this, one way or the other, we'll be doing his first 20 ever. Also ever as like a DPS even. He's never even done it as a DPS. But I do want to talk a little bit about what's happened here because this dungeon slowly turned into his nemesis dungeon. As you saw in the footage, he was actually like trying to talk his way out of even doing it. And I think this is a very, very good example of a situation where if he could overcome what's going on here for him, then really anybody can. Almost like an unnecessary fright about the dungeon, as one commenter said earlier on. He's more nervous than the dungeon is difficult. And I'm sure that's not that uncommon. But in terms of his actual problems with the dungeon, they're really kind of on me, I feel like a lot of it too. You see, we spent so much time talking about how to tank that Iron Star area to enable the hunter to then go on and do the gauntlet pulling back to the Iron Star, and nobody ever did it in any of the runs we did together in this dungeon. And it's not really needed, obviously, so no big deal. But I put so much pressure on that situation for him, and he absolutely just shut down in that moment. If you haven't seen that, it's kind of strange. So I think it just builds up like an unrealistic expectation for the difficulty of this dungeon. At its heart, it's really just a straight line dungeon. There's not really much to it. Some small optimizations we try to make with the route, and for the most part, everything goes extremely well. So we're at the second boss, and then the trash after that kind of gets a little complicated. So I want to break down that segment of the dungeon specifically for anybody to help learn from. But before we do, there's another interesting moment that unfolds. I instructed him to pull his trash before he pulls the boss, but taking a very weird approach to it, and especially considering the Nathrazine doesn't actually spawn until you target the mob that it's going to infiltrate, it becomes a very sloppy pull here. But then you see we've wasted some of our threat potential. So what I would recommend is just rolling over there, or just staying on your mount and just going over there, and then you can just run into the mob and it will eventually appear, and then you can keg smash both of them and then quickly turn around and double roll and grab the boss as well. And then we make this same mistake here as well, and I'm not really sure what to say to help him with this, because you know, when you have two packs that are right next to each other and you want to pull both of them, this is like a really suboptimal way to go about it, trying to pull both of them backward. I think it's important to note that there is times when you want to pull stuff at range, but those times are mostly when you're worried about the inability to fight the pack that is right next to the pack that you're going to pull, or some kind of spatial issue where it's like, if I go right up to those mobs, there's going to be issues one way or the other. In this situation, that's not going to exist, so we can simply ride right up to them, and that's just way better. It's faster, first of all, more DPS, quote unquote, for the course of the dungeon to just ride right up there. And I think that kind of thing is really a big problem for newer tanks. Like, people don't fully understand that the differences in pulling trash could actually save minutes over the course of a dungeon. And that lesson is going to be one that needs to be learned here as we go into this next segment of the dungeon that I was talking about, because it's kind of a really awkward segment. You can tell that this is an old dungeon just because of the way it's laid out and how there's just strange trash layouts, like really large distances in between packs, and this really long patrol here. So we have these two mobs that we're trying to combine into the next ones, right? So to me, somebody who's been tanking for an extremely long time, it's obvious that one of them is a range target, that being the Wrangler. The other one is a mob that basically doesn't really need to be tanked. He's kind of going to like run around and do whatever he wants. So bringing these two into the next four is a much more logical idea than trying to bring those four back to these two, especially considering one out of the two here is simply just never really going to stand still. But because he's new to tanking and he's not really well versed in like how you should make a pull, we make a really strange decision here where we try to grab like 3 range mobs all in different segments back to each other, and then of course, you know, we continue to struggle with this like establishment of threat thing. Like, and as you see, we got these Wranglers back here disengaging, running all around. This one's dying pretty quick at least, but you know, we've lost threat on this one. So this is like a really sloppy pull. And if this was like a really like hard fortified week, even like a higher key, you'd probably end up just straight up wiping here because threats in question, we got the mobs all over the place. So if anybody can learn from that, I would say just always think about what the different iterations of pulling these mobs together might look like. This is a really abnormal example of it though, to be honest. Like most dungeons are not going to have packs so far away that you do actually want to pull into one. And you probably won't really see this type of situation again where it's like 3 ranged mobs and then 2 mobs that are kind of just running all around. But then we do the craziest thing. And again, I think if he can get over these types of things, if we can put these types of things in the rearview mirror, then anybody can overcome this. This is the best example of really just insane tank anxiety that I have ever seen. He is so nervous about this dungeon that he forgets how to type. He forgets how to like do basic things like use a certain potion. And he explained this to me before, so I do understand why it happens. For whatever reason, he uses the slash key to open up the typing window instead of the enter key. And apparently when you do that, it just puts a slash in there. So the reason I'm instructing him to type shroud here is it's just a courtesy to the group. It doesn't need to happen. This is really like a pug only mistake, right? This kind of thing is never going to happen in a pre-made group because you'd be in Discord together and you would just say the word shroud out loud. But here it's like a little bit of a pug thing. Like I'm telling him, yo, as a courtesy to the group, tell people that we're shrouding now. You know what I mean? But it takes him so long to get it typed out and it takes him so long to get on his mount that everybody just completely abandons him. And the guy who's playing the rogue obviously does something absurdly clueless here. Like, I mean, this is really dumb, to be honest. I think, you know, this is a problem that it should not occur because another big issue I find with Cop is like, I think he's very nervous about navigating dungeons or just kind of moving in general. Like, so it takes him like really long amounts of time to get from place to place. And that's a big issue for tanking. As a tank, you always want to be the first person everywhere. Like you want to be basically moving ahead of the group, even at their detriment at times, because if you're letting people beat you to spots, then they're just going to make your life hell. It's going to be so much harder, especially in a pug. It's just about leading the group, like lead by example, show the group where you are, make them follow you. And we see that in other parts of Iron Docks too, where he's very slow to move from one segment to the other. And the group just abandons him. They just go on without him thinking they know what he's going to do. And then he's over there on his own. And that is like the absolute mortal sin of tanking in pug. If you let the group walk all over you like that and do things without you, then you've lost all command of the group. Maybe it's not on purpose. Like this guy, obviously, I don't think he's doing this because he doesn't care about where the tank is, but it should be always the other way around. So this indecision ultimately causes a massive, massive issue for the key. And I think it's handled very well. I think, you know, a couple weeks ago, this would have really bankrupted him. Now he's in a point where he's feeling like super anxiety. I don't really know how to describe it to anybody who's never really had anxiety before, but I feel the same way. Like, so if I was in a situation where I was already anxious about something and then something went really wrong, like against my plan of what I expect to happen, the anxiety would just absolutely obliterate me. Like I would be so withdrawn that it would take me like a long time to recover from it. Cop handles it very well here. So we're just going to end up pulling this trash. My initial plan is I see, okay, he's got 50 seconds left on his invis pot. We can just invis now. You know, we don't actually need shroud. I figure we can kill these 2 and then we can still skip. We'll just be slightly over count, but I was trying to really get him to stick to doing the route. And then the actual strangest mistake I've ever seen anywhere ever occurs. I'm instructing him to use an invis pot and instead he uses a potion of phantom fire. And I think you can just really just chalk this up to being nervous and overwhelmed by the situation. You know, is it potentially abnormal and stressful situation that we put ourselves in here. Didn't really have like the pre-planning that I think is really needed on a tank to be able to get through parts of this dungeon. Pretty clear that it's an experience issue as well though, of course. And when we come up to it, we make a really big mistake in the clutch here, using a potion that completely locks him out of now skipping this trash. So if this dungeon came down to the ability to skip this trash, and if you don't, you're going to fail the timer, then this would actually be the key right here. You know what I mean? Luckily in this dungeon, it doesn't come into play at all because this last pack is still easily skippable. So I just wanted everybody to see that because I think it's really important. It's important for Cop too to understand that like he's better than he thinks he is. The dungeons are easier than he thinks they are. All his problems are just kind of something he's creating for himself. And also I'm kind of putting too much extra pressure on him at this point. I thought I'd be better at this. I just don't really know what to say, like physically what words to use, because I'm so used to like a certain line of thought that it's all very obvious for me, right? Like I know what's coming up. I've done it a million times. I know exactly what's going to happen. And I'm just kind of trying to walk him through it. But he has no idea what's coming up. He's not really thinking about it. He's not able to predict these mistakes. He's not able to outthink these problems before they start. So it turns into a situation here where I'm basically just confusing him. I'm using words that I think are obvious and the right words, but they don't really mean what I think they mean to him. So he's misconstruing them and then making decisions that are rash and kind of falling apart at the seams. So, but I do think, again, this is a shining example of if we and him could overcome this, and there's really no excuse. Anybody else out there should be able to do the same. Review your footage, always record what you're doing and look back at it to make sure you understand the mistakes. Having clarity about what your mistakes are is how you solve them. I hope this has helped, guys. This is a really interesting episode. In the next episode, we're going to be doing our first 20. So thank you for watching, guys. We'll see you guys in the next episode.